And so I want to share with you first how I give every day. I do work with the City of Memphis in small business development. I work with the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, led by Director Joanne Massey and Mayor Strickland as well. In 2016, they came up with this new department in an effort to help minority-owned and women-owned businesses primarily get a bigger share of the pie when it comes to city work. And so that's our goal, is to increase the number of minority-owned, women-owned, and small business enterprises that get a share of the pie with the city. And we also, when it comes to me and my development, I help those businesses, small businesses, take the next step. We help people create business plans, get additional financing if they need to grow, come up with marketing plans for them. We just help them take the next step, whatever that means. And so that's a very rewarding job for me, because my mission in life is to help people improve, and there are many ways to do that. And I have many ways of helping people, and this is one of them. So I love my job every day. I go to a job that I love, and I help people grow. And so that's what I give on a daily basis. And in that department, the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, the effort again is to help grow the minority and women-owned populations. And in 2016, that office had 12% of minority-owned, women-owned businesses that were working with the city. That has now grown to almost 24% in the last 2 years, and it's well on its way to 30%. And so the office is really doing a good job as far as that, and being a diverse Memphis, for all business owners. And of course, if there's anything that I can do for you as a small business, please come see me. We have the Small Business Development Center located at 555 Beale Street. And so please come and see me, and I'll be happy to help you. And we're getting ready to move, actually. We're moving down to the historic Universal Life building on the corner of Danny Thomas and MLK, which is an old insurance building with the clock out front. You've probably been by or seen it. The city's renovating that building. We'll be moving over there hopefully within the next month or two. But that's what I do every day. And so I want to shift the gift of business development, and I want to talk to you about kidney donation, because it's right in line with what we've been talking about, and keep on keeping on, so to speak, in your life. And so I want to give you a little bit of information about how the kidney donation unfolded, and then some of the things that I learned from it as far as being able to give on a higher level. And 2 years ago, I knew nothing about kidney donation. It was not on my radar at all. I knew that there were kidney donors out there. I knew that it was a great thing, and I was never expecting to be one of them. But I did learn in my research that there are 120,000 people out there who are in need of an organ, either from a deceased donor or a living donor. Of course, there's a time limit for getting deceased organs. And if you haven't check marked that on the back of your driver's license, people will not know whether or not you're willing to give when you check out, so to speak. But that's really important, because there's a time limit there. There's a certain amount of hours they have to go, bring in the organs and then give them to someone else. Living donations are a little different. People with living organs who get transplanted have at least double the lifespan than a deceased organ. So it means much more to the people who are receiving the organs. Out of the 120,000, 100,000 of those are waiting on kidneys. So by far, kidney donation is the most important organ out there for people. And in the city of Memphis, there are about 3,500 people waiting on a kidney. That's a lot. It's a big number. It's a big number. And if you know anything about, you probably know somebody who has a kidney problem, or a friend or family member that has a kidney problem and may be on dialysis. You know that dialysis is kind of a slow death. It'll keep you alive, it'll keep you going, but it's hard on the body, and people spend 4 to 5 hours, 3 to 4 times a week at the dialysis center cleaning their blood. And dialysis is basically taking the blood out of your body, cleaning it, and putting it back in your body, because the kidneys can't do their job. It's a huge, huge need. And so how this unfolded for me It was in late 2016. I'm on Facebook doing my Facebook thing and checking it out. And a good friend of mine made a post. And the picture on the left there is what he posted on Facebook with the plea for his son, Tony, needed a kidney. And Tony had been on dialysis for about 5 years. His mother had donated a kidney to him several years ago, but it failed. And he was on dialysis for, like I said, five plus years, and his health was just starting to deteriorate. He's 31 years old, a young guy. And so it was very difficult for Tim. Now Tim, in the picture there, Tim Chim, he is a Cambodian American hero. He was involved in the Pol Pot slaughter in Cambodia in the early 70s, where 2 million Cambodians were killed. Very difficult. He was sent to be executed 3 times, escaped execution, literally running from a firing line with bullets flying by, the whole Matrix thing, and he was doing that. He would tell you that's exactly what he was doing. He finally made it to Thailand, climbed numerous mountains, spent about 4 months in the jungle, made it to Thailand, and then on to the United States in 1976. He now runs his own Allstate insurance agency in upstate New York, does very well. He's a hero to me. I co-wrote a book with him called Adversity to Advantage, and he tells his story about how he overcame significant advantage. And 2 other co-authors, Tom Cunningham, who had severe rheumatoid arthritis, tells his story, and then my story as well about how I overcame significant obstacles in my life, and especially in business as well. So feel free to grab a copy of that, and we're going to give away a couple copies, I think, at the end. But this picture was posted on Facebook, and I saw it, and I don't have kids of my own. I've raised some great dogs. They're like my kids. I don't have kids. And suddenly I looked at that picture on the left, and I kind of jumped in the picture, and I thought, if that were me, if my son needed a kidney, what lengths would I go to make that happen? And I thought, the least I can do is to get tested for my friend and hero. He was asking for O blood types. I have O positive. So I said, yeah, I'll get tested. I'm thinking, of course, what are the chances, right? What are the chances? 1 in a million. And of course, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'll just get tested. That'll be it. Go on my way. End of story. Not the case. So, we were working through Westchester Medical Center in upstate New York. And of course, they sent me the blood test. I drew the blood, got the blood drawn, sent it back up there. 2 weeks later, I get the phone call that says, how do you feel about donating your kidney? And of course, initially they were shocked, right? Oh no, what happened? Am I really going to have to do this? And then afterwards, it was more of a calm. And actually, right from the beginning, there was something that was kind of pulling me towards this. I didn't quite know what it was, but I was being pulled towards it. And so I said, yes, I'll donate my kidney. And so we had newspaper articles written about this in New York about donating a kidney, and this was going to happen in May of 2017. I had to go through several months of testing. They tested me from head to toe. I don't know, they probably spent at least $75,000 or more testing me from head to toe. The good news was I was healthy. I could donate the kidney. And then we had articles written about it. And so about 10 days before the surgery, I was going to go to New York and get my final testing done and get everything squared away before the surgery. I called them to say, hey, I'm getting ready to come. What else do I need to do as far as getting ready? The transplant coordinator on the other end said, Taylor, we're canceling the surgery. It's not going to happen. Well, I was in shock, first of all. That was pretty devastating, not only for me, but for the Chim family. Here they were thinking their son's going to get a kidney, everything's going to work out, and suddenly they called it off. So what happened was, when they threw everything up on the board, all the doctors, to figure out how this was really going to go down, they figured out that our kidney structures were just too different. That yes, I could have given him the kidney. He wouldn't have kept it for very long. And the way they had to do it to make it happen, that would prevent him from ever getting another one. So they just decided that they were just not going forward, and they were going to wait on another option. And of course, that was devastating to hear that, because I felt like we'd gone through months of testing, all this, it was coming to a kind of a crescendo, and it suddenly just got dropped off on the corner. And it was devastating, actually. Instead of staying at home, I went to New York to be with the family anyway. This is a picture of Tony and I standing by a lake in upstate New York, just kind of taking it all in. I spent that weekend with the family. We prayed. We talked about other ways that we could get him a kidney. And I kind of in my heart said, I'll do what I can. I don't know what I can do. I can't give him the kidney directly, but I'll do what I can to help. And I didn't know quite what that was. Came back to Memphis. I sat on it for 3 weeks. I then decided to go to Methodist Central, to the transplant center. It's a world-class transplant center. You've heard of Steve Jobs going there to get his liver transplant. I mean, it's a great facility. And I walked through the door and I said, I would like to still donate my kidney to someone else if this will work out. And told them exactly what had happened in New York, how it all kind of went down. And they said, well, we don't get too many people like you that walk in the door and say, hey, I just want to donate my kidney to whoever needs it. So I kept saying yes inside. I kept saying yes. And that was lesson number one. Especially in life and in business, sometimes you just need to keep saying yes when things don't work out or things are not going your way, because they do have a way of working out in the end. That was lesson number one. I kept saying yes. So I went through several months of testing with Methodist. We get to January 2018 this year. Methodist called and said, we have a donor. Are you still in? And I said, yes, I am. I was still willing. And I'd gone all in on this. I totally committed. When you say yes to giving a kidney, that's kind of a big deal, Yeah. You don't want to say no, even though you can. I could have said no right up to the time they gave me the double martini cocktail before they put me out, which is what the anesthesiologist calls it, the double martini. I could have said no right up to that point, but that was not going to happen. I was not going to say no. So I went all in. So I felt in my heart that I had done everything but give the kidney. So I was still willing. And so in January of this year, they said, we've got a donor. I said yes again. And when I said yes, that's when it all kind of went nutty. Because what happened after that was quite amazing. Once I said yes, I'll donate my kidney, they said, because you're going to donate your kidney in February, we will elevate Tony on the list in New York, and he will get a kidney within 3 to 6 months of my donation. That's terrible. Because when I walked in the doors at Methodist, I had no idea that was even possible. I had no idea. But great things are amazing. And if I were to tell you that this is a walk in faith, I will tell you, yes, indeed, this is a total walk in faith. But I kept saying yes. As we neared the surgery at the end of February, they came back and said, oh, by the way, you're going to be the point person for a 5-person kidney exchange. Meaning, I'm going to give my kidney to an unknown person, and I still to this day do not know who received my kidney. But I gave my kidney to an unknown person, and that person, recipient, has a friend or family member willing to give their kidney to recipient number 2 in another part of the country. And recipient number 2 has a friend or family member willing to give one of their kidneys to recipient number 3. And so you see how the domino effect goes on. This happened 5 times within 72 hours of my donation. So what I thought was going to be a direct one-to-one person kidney donation turned out to be a 1-to-6 with a lot of other people involved. And the amazing part of it is that it was a very coordinated effort. There were well over 100 doctors, nurses, medical personnel, couriers that were involved in this. And just so you know, if you don't know how a kidney rides to its destination, it goes one of two ways. Number one, there's a courier that takes the kidney, gets on the airplane, sits with it, takes it to its destination. Or number two, it rides first class with the airline pilots up in the cockpit. So one of two ways it travels, just to make sure that it gets where it needs to go. But there were well over 100 personnel that were involved in this, a major effort. And I never knew that this was going to happen. And so it was a total blessing to be able not only to give my kidney, but to help my friend's son get his, and then help 5 other people get other kidneys as well. And if you don't know, kidney exchanges are pretty prevalent now. It's a great way to help a lot of people get new kidneys at one time. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that's happening. And of course, these are a couple of pictures of Tim and Tony and I, and that picture is standing in front of the Statue of Liberty. That was not after everything was over. That was actually after we learned the surgery was canceled. We went to the Statue of Liberty just to celebrate freedom and the possibility that something else would work out. And it did. And it did. So I was able to give the gift of life, which to me still, even to this day, is amazing. It's amazing. Now I'll give you a little bit of information about kidney structures in general. If you got 2 kidneys, most everybody here's got 2 kidneys. Some people were born with 1 and don't know it. Your kidney capacity is about, with your 2 kidneys, about 4 times what you'll ever need in your life, provided you have healthy kidneys. So obviously when you take 1 out, that cuts your capacity in half. The amazing thing is that the remaining kidney increases in size and increases in capacity over time to where I will probably get about 3 times the capacity back, which in healthy terms is more than I'll ever need. So literally, most people in general do have a spare, and they can't give it away. Now it's not for everybody, but for most people, they have a spare organ they can share, they don't know it. So here are a couple of things that I learned from this whole process, and really what I want to share with you today is that selfless giving brings back abundance manyfold. And when I said yes, and I kept saying yes inside, when everything was going wrong and people were saying no and we can't do it, I just continued to say yes. And that brought back such an abundance. Not only to me, but the families involved. And think about the Chim family, think about the 5 people that got the kidneys, and not only them, but all their families who are now probably elated that things are working out in their favor. An amazing journey. No strings, all wings. One of the best things that I learned about this is when you give without expectation, things take off. I really expected to give my kidney to Tony, and I thought that was the way it was going to work out. And lo and behold, it didn't. But when I kind of let go of the expectation that I had it all figured out and that this was the way it's going to go, look what happened. 6 people got kidneys. And that's a lesson for us all, and especially for myself, is when we let go of the expectations that we have, and we can adjust sometimes our expectations, things really start to happen in our favor. And then also that giving is an act of freedom. You think about when you give something to someone and you really are not expecting anything back, it feels pretty good, doesn't it? It does. It feels great. And that's really the point, is that giving is an act of letting go. It's what I like to call expression and connection. In that you're expressing yourself by giving something to someone else, but you're actually connecting with them on a higher level too. When you're not expecting it to come back, it just has a way of spreading itself. And for many of you, it's in this room, it's not a question of are you giving or not, because we We know everybody here is giving something to someone, and in beautiful ways too. It becomes a question of, can you give more than you think you can? And that was the ultimate question for me, because I wasn't sure that I could give the kidney. I was using it. I was using it. It was helping me out a little bit. But it ultimately came down to Tony's life, and living his life was more important than me using the second kidney. And that's what it came down to for me. And then also increasing our goodwill. You think about goodwill in business, it's that intangible asset that's worth more than the market value of a certain thing. It's invisible, we can't see it, but it's goodwill. And if you increase your goodwill, it comes back to you many times, and that's a choice that we make. A couple of things that have happened in my life as a result of the kidney donation is that at the same time this was all kind of coming together, St. Peter's Children's Ministry in Uganda, one of the people, Peter's right there. He is in the left-hand picture with his 25 kids. He raises and feeds 25 orphans in Uganda. He was an orphan himself. He found me on Facebook. I talked to him for about 7 months before I ever did anything. So I had him checked out. The man in the left-hand corner on the bottom left is Steve Happ. He works with an organization called World Shine Ministries, and he travels to Uganda about 5 times a year to help orphans. And he lives in Germantown. He happened to walk into my life at the precisely right time that I needed him when I decided to help these children here. And I still help them to this day. They live hand to mouth. They need assistance, and so I send them assistance. And I'm getting a team together that will help support these children on a long-term basis. Their goal is to be self-sustaining. They're not self-sustaining right now. My goal is to get them there. We're building an adversity to advantage school in Cambodia. My friend Tim Chin, the hero, is building a school. And we want to be able to educate 200 kids in Cambodia that would not otherwise have a chance. So these are big projects, but it comes with big heart and big giving. Locally here in Memphis, I'm the chairman of the Father Joseph L. Tagg Angel of Kindness Foundation. We help several different organizations in Memphis. In the top left, those are kids. We provide uniforms for kids in underprivileged neighborhoods. The picture on the top right is Links. That's Ladies in Need Can't Survive. It's a battered women's shelter in Fraser. And the 2 pictures on the bottom are the Ag Tech summer program at the Agri Center. It's where high school kids from really all over the city get to learn about agriculture, building drones, life skills, and so we're involved in that as well. And so there's a lot of giving going on. The question is, can you give more than you think you can? Yes. Hopefully the answer to that is yes. And my 3 takeaways are giving more than you think you can, because when you do, it always works out. I don't know anybody who says, you know what, I think I just gave too much. I just gave too much. I won't ever do that again. Normally it's not enough. But when you give more than you think you can, beautiful things happen. Give smiles and give thanks too, because I know everybody in this room is blessed. Things might not be working out exactly perfectly right now, but we are totally blessed. And when we focus on gratitude, it's beautiful. And then also, lastly, enjoy the journey of giving. This whole 2-year process of giving the kidney, I got really anxious about whether or not it was going to happen. But along the way, I just began to enjoy the journey of giving way beyond what I thought I could. And that is my spiel. Thank you very much.